It's always a showdown when these two get together, so strap in. You're watching a capping match this Sunday evening in MLS NEXT Pro. It's Austin FC 2 traveling to play Colorado Rapids 2. From downtown Denver to the springing Rockies, we take you to the University of Denver Soccer Stadium, the home of the Pioneers and Colorado Rapids 2. My name is Mark Schoenster, excited to be bringing this one to you this evening. Once again, Rapids 2 hosting Austin FC 2. Their second meeting this season. The first time they played was match day 1, the first game of the season. So let's see how far these teams have come since that meeting in March, now that we're here into the month of June. Here are your starting 11s for these two sides. First off, for Eric Boucher's unit, a 4-3-3. Been in some good form as of late, and they'll be anchored once again by the first teamer, Adam Beaudry, his 6th start of the season between the pipes for the second unit. You're looking at that top of the formation, Josh Copeland, Mamadou Bilojup, and Anthony Garcia to combine with that midfield to create some great chances, apply pressure off the ball, wreak some havoc on this Austin FC 2 unit. Meanwhile, for the visitors, it'll also be a 4-3-3 for Brett Utley's side, with the first teamer CJ Beaudry at the top of the formation. Just his second appearance this year for the second team. He's been getting looks with the MLS side this season. Looking to keep the legs fresh. It's his 3rd year playing with the second team side, so certainly familiar with playing for Coach Utley and with a lot of these guys here. So, not unfamiliar territory, even if he hasn't played a ton this season. The Colorado Rapids 2 going right to left. Meanwhile, left to right for the visiting Austin FC 2. See Antonio Gomez, the captain for the visitors. Meanwhile, Malik Pinto, the man in charge for the home side. I teased one direction these two teams will be playing in. Actually, they'll switch to the other ends. Our head official for the game this evening, James Morgan. Looking forward to seeing how this one unravels. Their MLS counterparts colliding yesterday. Austin FC 2 victorious 2-0. An own goal from Navarro. And Mikael Dessler finding the back of the net for Austin. And of course, it's always nice for Brad Stuver when he gets a clean sheet. But how will the result alter between the second units? So far this season, when you look at the standings, a 7-point difference between these two sides. Colorado Rapids 2 at 6-4-2 have 20 points. Meanwhile, Austin FC 2, 2-3-5 at 13 points. Just a 7-point gap, but quite a few teams between them in the table as it stands right now. But it's been a good bout of form recently for Austin, so they're on the up and up form-wise, and they're hoping that can be reflected in the standings. A lot of draws as of late. Been tough to beat in the 90 minutes. Colorado Rapids 2 have won 2 of their last 3. 3 draws and 1 win in the last 4 for Austin. The visitors going right to left and going left to right. The visitors, or excuse me, the hosts, Rapids 2. The whistle sounds, and Josh Copeland gets us started, rolling it all the way back to his keeper, Beaudry. It's Rapids 2 and Austin FC 2. Last time these two teams met, beginning of the season, Austin exploded with 4 goals in the first half and eventually winning that one 4-2 back on home soil. course, the way the team looks at the beginning of the year and how they can look even just a couple months later can be drastically different, especially in MLS Next Pro, where there's a ton of roster fluidity. Deanda trying to feed it ahead, and it's blasted back in the direction of Charlie Farr, the goalkeeper, 22 years old, getting his 5th look of the season. Colorado Rapids, too. 2 wins in their last 3, including a road trip last time out against Sporting Kansas City 2. Just a dominant performance from Eric Boucher's unit. A game in which he felt they started on the front foot, built some confidence, pinned them back pretty deep, which offered them a lot of the ball, and then they did a lot of good footballing with that possession. Sliding effort, looking to disrupt Beaudry. No one's going to be allowed to play from the back with ease here this afternoon/evening. But being on the front foot in that way against Kansas City, and establishing possession, Eric Boucher said it really validates the work that they've been putting in as of late. And obviously, the result is one thing, but when you see the way you're playing and how you're executing oh so well in the things you've worked on, then that reinforces the work during the week twofold. Because sometimes, you could squeak a result. You can even sometimes, without properly earning it, get 3 points, but certainly not the case in that Sporting Kansas City 2 matchup. Very dominant. And I venture to make that point because sometimes you can also play well and not get the result. Rapids 2 on the push here. Josh Copeland, one-on-one with the defender. Copeland shrugged off the ball. Anthony Deanda doing well there defensively. Deanda on an island by himself with Copeland. Ushers him off the ball and handles that situation with a ton of composure. As I was saying, though, you can play well and not get the result. Austin, last game, a 1-1 draw with Houston Dynamo 2, and they would only end up getting a point from that bout. But Utley, the head man for Austin FC 2, felt his side played really well, both with and without the ball. And he said the vibe of the group afterwards was that they deserved the win. But hey, sometimes that's how the sport goes. Houston have a good front three. They can take advantage of chances when they get them. Ultimately, you just hope as a side that by the end of the year it balances out, that you win as many games as you didn't deserve, as you lose games you should have won. And that the teams that just consistently play well are the ones that are rewarded with a better spot in the standings and a playoff berth and perhaps home field advantage. Garcia trying to track that one down. And of course, that entire conversation about deserved points and whatnot all has to be viewed through the lens of the fact that this league is about preparing these guys for being ready to take it to the next level, integrating themselves into the professional lifestyle, and then you hope then get the opportunity to either play for their first team or launch their career off into higher professional realms elsewhere. I had the chance to talk to both of these coaches and ask them how much they view this matchup as sort of a measuring stick for where they're at in comparison to where they started this season, given the fact that these two teams faced off to open up the year. They're fresh off the preseason. Certainly not everybody is acclimated in. You haven't even fully completed your roster at that point in time. You don't have some professional games under your belt, especially for the less experienced guys on your team. Eric Boucher, not sure if that's how he wanted to view this game, but the fact of the matter is, losing 4-2 the previous time that these two teams met, they wanted to showcase how they play more properly. That being said, these last few matches have felt like a measuring stick for his side, dominating Real Monarchs and Sporting Kansas City 2. With the roster composed only of second-teamers and academy guys. So it was a fair shake and a fair display of where they're at as a unit. Lovely evening in Denver, Colorado. 71 degrees. The kind of temperature you want to be playing this sport in. Stepped on by Fodre, the first teamer. A lot closer than perhaps Rapids 2 would have liked to reaching its intended target, but ultimately they deal with it. Some pressure here from Deonda, wins the ball back for the visitors. And that one is ever rising from Adrian Gonzalez. Has the opportunity to step in. Would have been an ambitious effort. I mean, it was an ambitious effort. It would have taken quite a high-quality strike to beat Adam Beaudry from that distance. The placement would need to be good, and it would require ample amounts of pace. Despite being second to last in the table, Austin FC2 unbeaten in their last 4 matches. So they're starting to find some progress and get somewhere here. Brett Utley attributing that to the fact that there's been more stability in training sessions as far as who's been there training with this side. Early in the year, there's a lot of injuries with the first team, and that's going to shake some things up for the second unit. Who's training where? Bad idea on the cut pass from Fodre. It's not necessarily always about the 11 players you line up each Saturday and who's subbing into the game, because that has still remained pretty fluid for Brett Utley and Austin FC2. But on a daily basis, they're seeing the same guys in training day in, day out, week in, week out. You kind of can lay a foundation and understanding of each other. So not only is there just a consistency in how many players and who are those players that you're expecting to see check in and work on the training ground. But on the top of that, those guys are getting familiar with each other, which familiarity and chemistry is so important in the sport. So when you have that shifting around earlier in the year, it makes it a little bit more difficult to establish that chemistry and understanding. Sometimes that's all it takes, is just some consistency in the routine and in the formula for the ball to start rolling in a direction. It's a game of fine margins, so every little thing can push the needle and make a difference in those results. Garcia into the 18. Anthony Garcia shoots. Took a bobble or two, but Charlie Farr handles it. Anthony Garcia making a move and putting his laces through it. Strelnauer rolls it back. The favor is returned. 17-year-old Noah Strelnauer getting his third start of the season. Lovely idea going forward, but even if the ball was closer to Mamadou Bilo-Diop, it would have been halted dead in its tracks by the offside flag. Well, this game's already off to a better start for Rapids 2 than the previous one was. Just 3 minutes into that game, Bryant Farkerland finding the back of the net. 4 goals in the first half that Eric Boucher described as regrettable. No kidding. He said Austin, it's always a difficult team. They're very organized, dangerous. A lot of respect for what Brett Utley has done there. Of course, these two sides having met in the Western Conference Final 2 years ago. Cross won't reach any intended target. Always competitive games, though, whenever these two teams meet. I mean, think about it. Even in a game where a team went up 4-0 at halftime between these two sides, Rapids 2 were able to score twice and get right back into it and ended up out shooting Austin on the day, 17-7, and 7 shots on target to 5. Josh Copeland pulls it back in, doesn't get very far. De Anda closes the door. Jorge Alastue wins the throw-in. This part of the match is brought to you by UC Health. With personalized care in locations across Colorado, UC Health is here for you. No matter where your story takes you, UC Health. Live extraordinary. tentative first 15 minutes here. There's Jaka Barrow. One of the players here this evening that did not participate in that first match between the two because, well, he wasn't with the squad yet. That's one of the reasons why it's not a direct comparison that you can make between last game and this game, because there have been personnel changes. Way. There's it back. Deonda feeds it in the center. It reached the boots of Fodre, but it was going to be hard for him to reel it in. Deonda with the twirl. And Barrow will put them out of that bind for now, at least, as the ball is given away, and Rapids 2 will do nothing with that possession. This is a Rapids 2 side. It's high pressing, they're aggressive. Red Utley telling me that his side will need to control the game with the ball and make sure they have some close connections when they're passing it, so then when they inevitably lose the ball, because no one's perfect for 90 minutes, you're ready to defend and switch gears. So much of handling a team that applies pressure is recognizing when you're facing it and where it's coming from. Some motion going forward. The cross ends up spinning towards goal and bounces out of bounds. So much of handling a press is recognizing where that press is coming from, because if you're feeling all the pressure, that means that there is space somewhere to put the ball. Obviously, that's easier said than done because you're feeling, well, the pressure that the other team is putting on you can make your decision making a little more frantic, not as composed, and you can look on the tape, look on the film, and see the gaps that are being left behind on a press, but can you see it in the moment and have the wherewithal to make the proper decisions and not carelessly give the ball away in a bad spot? Can really cause some havoc. A good press, of course, takes some good willpower, conditioning, group understanding from the team executing the press, so certainly not easy to execute cleanly in a game. After a run from the center back Matthew Kofi Sinanu, fouls drawn and a free kick won for Colorado. Venturesome ball forward, takes a bad deflection for Austin. Elo Chop. This shot glances wide. He'll have it again. The searching ball deflects back to the goalkeeper, Charlie Farr. And a good opportunity. Won't go anywhere for Colorado. This part of the match is brought to you by King Soopers. Hometown grocer, hometown team. Nico Van Rijn rolls it out to Anthony Deonda. composed of Deonda, Van Ryn, Antonio Gomez, and Riley Thomas, a first-team loanee. Deonda uses the back of his head to keep it in play. Does well there. A sliding collision play will go on. Garcia. A little bit wide. This is Sydney Wathuta. Wathuta gets it through one defender, gets taken down. Play goes on, ref does not point to the spot. James Morgan does not sound the whistle. Wathuta. Yeah, I think that's the correct call. Wathuta initiating that contact there, effectively knocking over the defender and then taking the fallout on the other side as he blew by him. It's not often when the contact you initiate from the back ends up knocking you down from the back. This is a long distance free kick. But the service is nice. Nearly combining there with Matthew Kofi Sananu. He would have squared that back across the middle, and then who knows what happens next. You like the thought there. So now Austin to see if they can fire a counter punch here, still 0-0. Colorado so good at closing spaces. Sometimes it can cause you to recklessly give the ball away. Blasting this one down the pitch. Ultimately, Austin will pick it up. Fodre. To Burrow, who does well to get out of his boot real quick. Carolina Rapids too, unable to employ the services of regular Colton Swan and goalkeeper Zach Campagnolo, both of which have been spending time with the U.S. Youth National Team, the U18 squad, been playing in some friendlies, including a game where, I'll hold that for just a moment. Match the two of them started in together. Colton Swan scoring in the first minute. They end up going to penalties. Campagnolo starting in that game, and they got the job done. Lifted ball across. Kept in the game. They'll go again. Second service, doesn't get as far. Bryant Farkeland couldn't get it past the first defender. Yanda plays it into Gonzalez. Way to the right-hand side, a rocketed shot over the crossbar off target for Irvin Torres. Let's take a look at that last sequence for Austin. Farkeland lifts it up, just kept in play, an acrobatic effort. And then have another go, but wouldn't amount to anything. Kofi Sinanu hits that with the outside of his boot. Immediately lets out a yell of frustration. A 2-2 draw with the French U18s, a game Campagnolo and Colton Swan started in. Swan gets a goal. Campagnolo participates in through the penalties. The USA victorious. Boucher and his crew. Proud of those two. I said it's such a joy to see them progress. Mentioned that it's Colton's first camp with the team, and you can see the look on his face and what it meant to him, and then you come in and score immediately. That's special. Nico Van Rijn lifts it over top of everybody. Run being made by Torres. Got a 0-0 game here at the University of Denver Soccer Stadium. Also got some pickleball being played over on the left corner of your screen. I mean, it's such a beautiful day there. Cannot blame those folks for getting out there and whacking the ball back and forth. Not the busiest time of the year for certain at the University of Denver. We're in the month of June. Things will get rolling once again in a couple of months as the college semester is off and running once more. Probably nice though, because then you don't have to compete for one of those pickleball courts. Whistle blows from our head official, James Morgan, bringing this one back. This part of the match is brought to you by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. Pushing forward here, Hossa keeps driving with it, and a corner kick is incoming. First corner kick of the evening for either side. 30 minutes in, 2 shots for both teams, a couple of decent looks. Nothing that's gotten Far or Beaudry too panicked. But perhaps this corner kick will change that dialogue a little bit. Pinto on the service. Spinning in, headed towards goal, but not on frame. Mamadou Bilo-Diop gets a piece of it. That one dipped down, and the 6'1" striker from Senegal rose up for it. You know, he's hoping to at least put that one on frame and test Charlie Farrer. Van Rijn gets that one away, but not to any teammates. Once again, Pinto threading it ahead. Reflecting out after Wathuta got the ball at his feet, and we'll have another corner kick. Captain Malik Pinto will saunter over once again. Many a player clump up into the penalty area, and each hoping to impose their will on the incoming service. This one headed away by Van Rijn. Pinto squares it up top. Garcia fires. This one ever lifting. It's always a conversation when the match is played in the state of Colorado, and that conversation is about altitude. The shot having a lot of altitude here from Anthony Garcia. But for visiting teams, it's another element you have to account for when going on the road here. Brett Utley mentioning, and this is something I've heard from many a team that's had an itinerary on a road trip to Colorado to play a soccer match, and that's to spend as little time as possible in the state at the venue to mitigate the effects of the altitude. And the nice thing is, for Austin in particular, there have been studies that show a correlation between tolerating high altitude and handling and tolerating intense heat, which they certainly have the latter in Austin, Texas, where, as Brett Utley put it to me, it's been like 1 billion degrees here, so you're somewhere that's super imposing heat-wise. You may be more equipped to handle high altitude situations such as this. Malik Pinto will take this corner kick from the right flag this time. Curling ball, headed away easily. Once again, Nico Van Rijn, the tall center back, knocking it away. Pinto, another service, and rushing in for it was Vincent Rinaldi. Couldn't bring it down, but he got a piece of it. Couple of looks, a couple of moments here for the home side. Just haven't been able to get the quality they're looking for on the finishing end of things. This Rapids 2 team been working on creating space the past few weeks. How they move off the ball and how they're synced up in that regard. Coordinated movements to create moments to slip behind that back line. Starting to find some of those chances here. Nothing has come to a dangerous fruition. So a warning being issued here from James Morgan. He is not going to tolerate the cheeky attempts at moving up the position where you throw the ball in. I heard it here. He said the next time someone tries to pull that stunt, it'll be a foul throw-in for the other team. James Morgan drawing the line. When it comes to the rules of the sport, there's a lot of wiggle room that teams look to utilize and budge to their advantage. It's one of the difficult portions of the job for an official to make sure that in those gray areas of the game, or just in the areas of interpretation, even if there are very stark rules to how the game should be played, there is still that interpretation element. For the ref, you've got to establish where you stand on those rules, and then as a player, you have to quickly adapt to how the game is being called. Garcia. Knife that one inside, looking to connect with Pinto. Some tight passing there for the home side. Vincent Rinaldi, one of two members of that center back pairing between him and Matthew Kofi Sananu. And some pressure on Anderson Hosa means that Austin will reclaim possession and look to find another few chances here before the half concludes. They've been on their heels for the previous course of action in this game. That's brought down nicely though. Hollis Twite lays it out to Deonda. Deonda was able to keep that one in play with the cross. And some more pressure from Austin FC too, looking to force another error. Deonda. Puts it inside. Baudre. You like the idea. Both sides doing well to close off on those passing lanes and ensure that nothing right down the spine challenges them defensively. Below job. Ahead. Garcia will hit the brakes. Copeland back up ahead. Cross doesn't make contact and will roll over to the left-hand side. The bell chimes in the background alongside the whistle sounding. Pretty serene sound if you ask me, but 45 minutes to go. These two teams still deadlocked here at 0-0. A yell of pain crumpling to the ground. I believe that's Jacobaro, who's slow to get up. Good to see he's up again. A couple more minutes before the halftime break, and you can truly assess how you're feeling. I also want to make sure you stay healthy. It's a 3-game road trip for Austin FC2. Started here, then you go to North Texas, then you go to Portland, so going all over the place. But those road trips, although can be challenging and daunting, it's also a great chance for players to really get to know each other, see how you handle yourselves in tough situations after many days of travel, not having the comfort of playing in front of your home space. And it's a chance for all the players to grow together. Brett Utley looking forward to that and getting to know one another more as a team. Surely you prefer to sleep in your own bed and be left to your own devices, your own routines, what you've become accustomed to. But there is definitely an element of bonding that comes with being on the road and spending a ton of time together with your teammates. It's those moments in the dressing room that professionals, after they leave the game, reminisce about and really miss about the game. Tripped up there. Free kick incoming for Colorado Rapids too. The idea there to head the ball back across. Collision there between Garcia and De Honda. That's a gutsy challenge there. Players assuming it's a foul, but the whistle did not get sounded. It's just a throw-in. Zipping ball ahead for Wathuta. Garcia traversing the traffic nicely. Maybe the last chance of the half here, as Bilo Jop gets shrugged off the ball. A nice bump from Van Rijn. And the halftime whistle sounds. A stalemate between Rapids 2 and Austin FC 2. 0-0 after 45 minutes. We'll see what these two teams come out with in the second half of action. Our score at half once again, 0-0. First half highlights and a look at our upcoming schedule are later. But first, April Marie Aguilar headed to North Carolina to visit with U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer and North Carolina native son, Eddie Pope.
Thank you for joining me. I'm April Marie Aguilar here in High Point, North Carolina at the brand new state-of-the-art facility, the Go Forth Elite Performance Center with Carolina Core FC. And today I'll be speaking with a legend, Eddie Pope. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me. But I want to mention, with the club in its second season, how do you continue to push the envelope in order to achieve the desired result?
It's just working every day, working hard every day, making sure the players are working hard every day. I'm trying to make sure that we look a little bit before, a little bit beyond, the next day and the next day, try to have a little bit of a vision, setting goals that are out in front of us, trying to achieve those goals, making sure the players are achieving those goals, as well as the coaching staff.
Mm-hmm. And how does the mind of a former U.S. soccer legend translate to that of CSO?
I think just for the most part, just trying to make things better than I had them. So I'm thinking about all the little bit of pitfalls that I may have gone through, whether that's on the field or off the field, trying to make things easier for players, try to give players advice on the field. So sometimes it is putting on the cleats and going out and trying to disseminate the information that I had as a player and moving that on to them. Those are some of the major ways. And then obviously trying to perform at the best of my ability as a CSO, as sometimes a coach, but then making sure that they have something like this, a training facility where they can apply their trade.
So I'm told you're the first to arrive and the last to leave. How does that level of commitment contribute to the success of the organization?
Yeah, I think just making sure that I'm setting an example for our coaching staff and our players. Sometimes the players leave after me, sometimes they're here before me, same thing with the coaching staff. But I think that something like that can be contagious. I think it's important, especially when a club like this is in the second year. We're just getting started, so we need to make sure that at a minimum we're working as hard as we possibly can.
And I just recently visited the National Soccer Hall of Fame, where you've been inducted. Despite that, you seem like a very, very humble individual. So how does somebody at your level stay so grounded?
For me, I think it's the game humbles you at all times. So the second that a player or anyone becomes a little bit haughty, the game will humble you. On the field sometimes, off the field sometimes, as a CSO, as a coach, where you might lose a game that you should have won. Soccer has a strange way of doing that for everyone.
And earlier today, we had the opportunity to attend practice. I saw you taking some forwards aside and, giving them some pointers. How does somebody with your experience not only instill what you know, but at the same time inspire them throughout the process? Yeah,
I think players are interesting, right? Players, obviously I was a former player. One of the things that they do pay attention to is where you've played, what you've done. So I think, we've as a coaching staff and myself, we've checked that box. Our players are very attentive. They're like sponges. They like to listen. At the MLS NEXT Pro level especially, that is a developmental league. So players are trying to develop, and it's our job to make sure that we're helping them through that process. So I try to take some of my past experiences, some of the things that I've gone through, like I was working with a forward, so I'm trying to tell him, hey, here are the things that I don't like that forwards do as a defender, and making sure that he understands those and that those are just options for him to choose from. He's not a robot, but just trying to help him unlock other defenders. And so we try to pull guys aside at times and work with them.
So that's the knowledge that you teach out on the field. What is something that you're instilling in them outside the pitch?
I think so. For us, one of the things that we do have is a player development program where we will teach them how to handle their finances. We have them, our captains and a couple of other players, going through a leadership course through a company that works with the club. Sometimes we'll do some fun things like cooking courses because they're young.
Right.
Most of them are bachelors, so to help make sure they're eating properly when they have the opportunity to cook for themselves. So we try to do some fun things off the field as well. And then I just think tactically, a lot of them are super young. The game changes so quickly that we try to sit down with them and help them understand tactically, not only just the game in general, but especially what we're trying to do.
At this point in time in your career, what is something that you ultimately hope to be remembered for? That's
a good question. I think just someone who worked hard, someone who believed in U.S. soccer, American soccer, someone who's wanted to really help grow the game here. Especially now being in the position that I'm in and helping to develop youth players and push them onward to MLS and hopefully the national team and maybe even other national teams, moving them on to Europe as well, but especially growing the game here in the United States.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Action.
Este verano, el centro del fútbol mundial está aquí. Los mejores del mundo. El deporte mundial en tu propio rincón. 4 grandes eventos. Un verano como ningún otro. Para aprender más, visite mlssoccer.com/summer.
Welcome back. It's 0-0 between Rapids 2 and Austin FC 2. We'll look ahead in a moment, but first, May was Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. So let's get to know St. Louis City 2's Juan Kusain in this week's feature.
St. Louis is as cultural as you can be for a city. It's got everything and everyone here, and you can find whatever you're looking for in this city.
Reed blasts it back into play. Headed central towards McSorley. Stays in the area. Oh! Juan Kusain!
Long range hit, and it's in the back of the net. What a tremendous effort.
Driving forward from deep is silly. That one flying across the top of the box. First chance, first goal.
Kusain wants it back, sends it in right to Glover, and then Juan Kusain puts it in.
I'm Juan Kusain, Juan Kamal, midfielder for St. Louis City 2. Carbondale, Illinois, grew up there, and that's where me and my brothers were raised. And some of my earliest soccer memories were just being around my older brother and dad who used to play rec soccer, intramural soccer, and just me being a little nuisance, like 4 or 5-year-old kid just trying to kick it around with, the older guys.
Juan's family played an instrumental role in his development when he was younger. He credits them for his start in the game.
I grew up playing local soccer for my dad's team that he had in Carbondale, and you usually just outgrow your local competition, and the next closest city was St. Louis, and a good group of us ended up coming to St. Louis Scott Gallagher, and we were there for about 7-8 years. I'm almost like a spitting image of my dad. My dad was very tough on me and all my brothers, just because he knew we were talented and we had potential to do stuff in this game. So definitely, I keep with the mindset and the values that he's instilled within us from an early age.
Juan later played for the Sporting KC Academy and made 6 appearances for the first team. He went on to sign for City 2 in 2022 for the club's inaugural season in the league.
Max Schneider on the free kick, able to drill this ball in. Follow-up try, goal! Off the foot of Juan Kusain, and there's history. The first ever MLS NEXT Pro goal. Juan Kusain gives St. Louis City 2 its first lead.
Being able to come back home, being able to kind of start something brand new, being able to play at SLU at the time and see the crowd that was there, and just knowing the history of St. Louis and knowing what it meant to people and people like me who grew up wanting something like this all along, to be able to represent the city that day and score the first goal in any type of league is awesome. So when things sometimes go bad or when things are looking down, I sometimes go back to that day and I'm like, man, that was awesome.
Juan is a first-generation Malaysian American. His love for soccer is something that he picked up from his family.
Malaysia is far, far, far away from the United States. My dad growing up was kind of similar like me. youth soccer player, kind of well known in Malaysia. And by the time he was 17, 18, he had a choice, either kind of stay in Malaysia or continue his studies anywhere else. And his mom or family pushed him kind of to, hey, you have these opportunities to study elsewhere, maybe you should take it. My mom grew up in the capital of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. For those that don't know, pretty cool city. Really nice city, actually. I call it almost like New York on steroids. Love going back there when I can.
Juan became the first player with Malaysian roots to score in Major League Soccer in 2018. He recognizes his story can inspire the next generation of Malaysian players and other Asian Americans nationwide.
I'm representing a whole long line of, Malaysians that, we're hoping to one day play in MLS. That's my heritage, that's my history. And if you'd have asked me that maybe when I was younger, 10, 15 years ago, I maybe would have tried to hide it a little bit, almost embarrassed. But now being older and more mature, I'm like, hey, this is awesome, this is everything. And I had a really awesome older brother who kind of gave me a good history of the game, and growing up I knew of the guys like Lee Win, Brian Ching, guys that kind of were the first to kind of do it. And who's the next one? That's what we're all here for, to kind of open doors for the next generation, and I'm sure there's going to be more and more to come. That's what sports are all about, and if I can do it, why can't the next person of Asian American descent do it? And I think that's what it's all about, from Lee Win opening doors for me to hopefully Juan Kusain opening doors for others. I think we're doing a pretty good job of giving everyone chances.
MLS debutant Kevin Sullivan. Luna. Yes! That is a banger! Absolute scorcher! Spectacular save from Dane St. Clair.
Action.
Welcome back to the University of Denver Soccer Stadium. 0-0 after 45 minutes. Let's see if these two sides can find a way to separate from one or the other. But first, let's recap how the first half went. No goals, but here's a look at some of the more dangerous moments in the half for these two sides. The effort off target there, a long distance shot from Adrian Gonzalez. Then on the other end, Colorado Rapids too, rotating that ball around the pitch before cutting it side, and then a shot on goal saved by Charlie Farrer. And you get this set piece opportunity, nearly turning into something very dangerous. Couldn't quite be connected though. And one more look for you, Torres giving a shot on goal, but once again Beaudry unaffected. Ultimately, just lacking that clinicality in the attacking third for both these teams. Here are the numbers. Rapids, too. We saw on the highlight clips, and the numbers will show you. He had a couple more chances, but neither side has truly generated anything dangerous, which means that this game is still entirely up for debate and for the run of form to be decided, not just in the scoreline, but which team looked better in the game. This is the end of the weekend in Next Pro action, though. This is what the rest of the week has. What you don't see on here is tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern time, a game that was supposed to take place today between Chicago Fire 2, New England Revolution 2, will not fully be postponed because it's going to be picked back up at the 20th minute. 1-0 in favor of Revs 2 in that game. That'll take place tomorrow again at noon. Revolution 2, Fire 2 doing battle. Be sure to lock in and check that one out, and then we'll get the next week of action started on Wednesday with Atlanta and Huntsville City. But that's looking ahead. We've got 45 more minutes to go here in Denver, Colorado. be a personnel adjustment for the visitors. Bryant Farkelen, after 45 minutes of action, will conclude his evening. Meanwhile, Diego Abarca will sub in. Once again, my name is Mark Schoenster. Looking forward to seeing how this one takes place for another 45 minutes of action. Can one of these two separate themselves from the other, or will we be going to penalty kicks after 90 minutes? Still at the same scoreline. Not a ton of promising looks offensively, to be frank. Both of these units, though, have proven this season that they can get it going at a moment's notice. So certainly what transpired in the first half is not a promise of what's about to take place here. James Morgan sets us off. And here we go.
In the 46th minute, entering the game, number 77, Diego Abarca. Leaving the game, number 26.
19-year-old Abarca into the game for Austin. No changes for Colorado Rapids 2. Eric Boucher's unit. Currently 7 points ahead of Austin in the standings. Of course, if this result holds, they will maintain that 7-point advantage. They're looking for payback after a 4-2 loss to start the season to this Austin team. Meanwhile, Austin trying to maintain a 4-game unbeaten streak as their ambitions to climb up the table are getting closer to realization. They're still second to last place, but you gotta take steps in the right direction. You're not gonna win it all back at once. Just go one game at a time and stack performances, build off of performances. And what'll virtually be a corner kick has been awarded here. 3 corner kicks to none in the first half for Colorado Rapids 2, and although this one obviously won't count as a corner, you imagine the execution will look awfully similar. Lee Pinto, the captain, who provided the service on all 3 corner kicks, will do the same thing here. With his right boot, he swings it in. Into the mixer. Finally cleared away for Austin. Jacabaro knocking that one away. That spent a lot of time in the danger area. The Ivorian clears it away. And this one will officially be a corner kick. Pinto again, this time from the left-hand side. That one falls all the way to the top. That's the look they were searching for in that situation. A one-timer put into that dangerous middle area where it can pinball in any direction. A teasing opportunity, but it does not reach and challenge Charlie Farrer. That's lovely work from Austin. Fodre lays it off to the left-hand side. It's too far ahead of Abarca. He'll cut it back. Lifted in centrally. And the goalkeeper is always going to have the advantage there. Adam Beaudry gets his hands there before Riley Thomas could get his noggin to it. A brimming opportunity for Austin. Fodre's pass, though, from the center of the pitch, the right idea, but ultimately sends Abarca wide. Wallace Tway brings it back for Austin. Fodre making the run down the left flank. Waiting for reinforcements, Fodre. Tap this one back. Doesn't have anyone to really swing that one into. As far as this game is concerned, it's a rematch of the season opener for these two sides, a 4-2 victory for Austin in that game. Brett Utley saying that they're a much different team from that game back then. Not just, of course, in how they've grown and developed, but also in personnel. Wathuta has room to work with. His dribbling got away from him. It's not out of the woods yet, though, and now it'll roll out of bounds. Let's look at this opportunity again. Wathuta had the room to operate, and then a touch. Rolls a hair too far, too much juice on that one, and it gives the opportunity for the defenders to close him off and limit his options. This is a different Austin team, much like it's a different Colorado team from when these two teams first met this season. For example, on the Austin side of things, Jacob Burrell wasn't even on the team yet. He's been a stable presence in the middle of the pitch since he's come in. That being said, though, always a ton of fluidity within these groups. So that's another counterpoint to the idea of this game being sort of a marker for progress to see how far these two teams have come. But I still think stylistically there's some merit to seeing how firm to your principles your team is playing a couple months into the season versus match day one. Even if the personnel doesn't reflect the two same lineups in those two matches, you could still see how as a collective, as a group, you're adhering to those principles. Fodre. Nice find in the middle. Lovely threaded ball through. And that effort straight down the middle for Alice Tway, making it an easy save for Adam Beaudry. Some good combination here from Austin. Jorge Alistue looking for his second goal of the season. And would you believe me if I told you the last goal he scored was the last time these two teams played? He was the third of 4 goal scorers in the first half for Austin in that match. Haven't quite had 4 goals here. Copeland glances that one out. Hear the bell chiming in the background once again. I believe it chimed at the 45-minute marker earlier, and now we're at the 15-minute interval. Free kick awarded to Rapids, too. This part of the match is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Adam Beaudry, 19-year-old goalkeeper, ripping this one down the pitch. And a positive spell in this game for Austin, but well, I'll keep that butt for the wayside because it looked for a moment like Colorado might be onto something in the press, but Austin able to handle it. That was a gutsy play, and now here are the home side. Bodies flying around here. Want to make sure it doesn't get too feisty. Patient with the ball is Steve Flores. Osa out wide to Garcia. Nice find in the middle. Feed looking for buildup. He ends up getting it to Garcia. And Flores will take on two defenders. It's cleared away. Took a glance off of him. And you can't believe that the decision is going in favor of the visitors, but that is where the ball is going. Watching this game here at the University of Denver Soccer Stadium, home of the Pioneers men's and women's soccer team. Great collegiate soccer program here. University of Denver. Of course, Sam Bassett, part of the first team, played for the Pioneers and is now playing with the Rapids. These programs, talking about the college team and the second team, play every preseason. Curling ball and a diving header. Once again, it's too high. Many of the best chances in this game have ended up sailing. Anderson Hosa with the service. And Mamadou Bilo-Diop lunging for the ball. Cannot keep it down. Sam Bassett going to the University of Denver. Right now, Isaac Nami, the goalkeeper for the Pioneers. A Rapids Academy guy who tends to come back and play with Colorado after his collegiate career is over. Rolling back nicely. Garcia has it glanced away. Just a beneficial partnership, though, between a college and an academy / MLS unit. You would think that both are making the other better by coexisting. Beaudry all by himself. CJ Beaudry tries the shot. Beaudry saved by Beaudry. Quickly moving the other direction. Colorado Rapids too. Bilo-Diop still dribbling. Tried to release it to his right-hand side for Wathuta. One miss hit. And that'll cue the first substitution for the home team. Josh Copeland's evening is over. And now stepping in, Kimani Stewart-Baines. Usually a starter for this Rapids 2 side, and he's been a goal-scoring option, 4 of them this season. His ambitions are to break the deadlock here. This being his 10th appearance of the season, Kimani Stewart-Baines. And what has so far been a pretty zip-tied matchup. Neither team truly creating that deadly moment. 60 minutes down, 30 to go. If the scoreline remains, we'll go to penalty kicks. Brett Utley's side victorious on 2 occasions out of 5 times they've gone to pens this season. Meanwhile, 0-2 for Eric Boucher's unit. A nice cutback pass to Wathuta. And the motif continues in this game of airballed shots that just keep floating. Sydney Wathuta. Once again, just lifting that ball. Not testing Charlie Farrer. And too consistent of a theme in this game. Garcia cuts to his right, lays it off to Wathuta. Sydney Wathuta. As that one cleared away, the whistle will sound from James Morgan. We do have a visitor on the ground. Up on his feet, Anthony Deonda. Oh, some bright moments in the first half from that left back spot. There's Stewart-Baines. First look with him on the ball. Kimani Stewart-Baines, some fresh legs. Wheel around. Riley Thomas gonna be tough to get by though. Wathuta hits the brakes. Now crosses it in, headed away by Thomas. They'll try again. Wathuta, second service. This time it connects! The substitute, Kimani Stewart-Baines, puts it in. Riley Thomas may have collided with the left post. He goes down, but Rapids 2 take the lead. A persistent spell of attacking moments. And Stewart-Baines may not even gotten on the end of it. It may have glanced off of Thomas, and that cross, if unaltered, looked like it could have bent in itself. I'd like to see how the statistics log this goal. But a cross from Wathuta to Stewart-Baines will put Colorado Rapids 2 ahead. Oh, it is going to go to Kamani Stewart-Baines, his 5th goal of the season. And a 3rd assist for Sydney Wathuta, who turns 21 on Wednesday. So a happy early birthday for Wathuta. Had one cross go in and not be successful, but the second one got the job done. Rain started to come down here in Denver, Colorado, right after the goal scored. Was 71 degrees for most of this game, but now it's starting to dip below 70, of course, with some precipitation. Two more changes, readying themselves for Brett Utley. Looks like Riley Thomas will be exiting, and so will Adrian Gonzalez, and taking their place, Daniel Chesla and Peter Grogan. Hope it's nothing too serious for Thomas on that goal scored. Definitely hit the left post as he was trying to defend Kamani Stewart-Baines. Now, Rapids 2 have the lead. And a new wrinkle introduced to this game, the weather. And Austin find a response. Rapids 2 start rolling. Could be onto something here. Fodre, lovely feet across, cleared out. This part of the match is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Life's better when you're protected under our roof. When you're under any roof right now, probably stay drier than these guys will. Wathuta on the breakaway. Sydney Wathuta cuts inside. Roll it out to the right-hand side. Garcia slips it in, and a corner kick is earned by Steve Flores. Malik Pinto will jog to the corner again. Still no corner kicks for Austin FC 2 in this game. Right now, Colorado out shooting them 9-3, but only one shot on target for each side. So although more shots total, a lot of those have been skied balls for the home team. Rain is cleared up for a moment. Still present though, as the sun gets another chance to shine onto the pitch. You can see it's still coming down though. A better view. Jorge Alastue yelling a little bit, slow to get up. It's going to become even more pertinent here for the final 20 minutes, but it's been a focus as of late to get more numbers moving forward on the offensive front for Austin. It's always tricky in this league because you want to reinforce strong defensive principles, but this is a league with a lot of aggressive offensive teams. Chested down and then disarmed and cleared away. Steve Flores does well there. Clearance, I believe, just awarded Austin their first corner kick of the evening, nearly 70 minutes into the match. 70 minutes down. Colorado Rapids 2 finding the lead here in the second half. So after the stat said Kamani Stewart-Baines scored the goal. Now it's called an own goal. We're seeing actually conflicting reports here. We've got ears on site saying from the officiating crew that the goal was scored by Stewart-Baines. Our stat machine is telling us it's an own goal, so we'll leave that to somebody to disseminate later. But the fact of the matter is it was a service to Kamani Stewart-Baines. His presence was very much important in that situation, and whether it came off of him or Riley Thomas is ultimately irrelevant for Rapids 2. The fact of the matter is it's 1-0. That happened in the 64th minute. With about 20 minutes to go. Rapids still will be looking to maintain that advantage. Meanwhile, Austin, it's the same amount of time they have to find a response. But here comes Colorado again. A fizzing shot from Bilo Jop. Not a bad effort. It's that one with the outside of his boot, just trying to pick that far post. Beaudre tracking back to make sure to maintain possession. And now he'll switch it back over to the left-hand side. 2 long crosses. And Austin are in business. Service takes a bounce and can't be kept in play. Some of these players certainly going to be cautious of the slippage that could take place now, especially if you're running quick and then trying to hit the brakes. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to mess up. And if you're on the defensive end, you don't want to deliver an opportunity on a silver platter. Far all the way down to the back line of Colorado. Here's where you got to be careful. Barrow slips up, takes a slide. And a free kick incoming for Austin. This part of the match is brought to you by UC Health. Personalized care in locations across Colorado, UC Health is here for you. No matter where your story takes you, UC Health. Live extraordinary. Scuffed cross goes out. I'll stay with the visitors. I was talking about this earlier. You obviously, I want to cool it off here. Some choice words being exchanged. James Morgan, our head official, will look to keep the peace now. Oof. Mamadou Bilo Jop. Looked like he may have gotten some studs on the top of the boot there, and then gets dragged down, and a yellow card will be issued to both contested parties. Diego Abarca with his 3rd yellow card of the season, and then Mamadou Bilo-Diop with his 3rd yellow card of the season. Getting into it a little bit there. Seemed like Bilo-Diop initiating the contact, then got dragged down a little bit by Abarca, and both taking offense to the other's infraction. So, about 15 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Long ball sent in. It bounces to the right-hand side, but on this wet pitch, the ball isn't going to quite travel the same way. I think there was certainly a little bit of anticipation there of the ball bouncing further out wide, but instead halted.
Has also been issued to Austin FC2, number 77, Diego Abarca.
That's a lovely move. Some persistence there as Anthony Garcia ends up getting bested by Anthony Deonda. Good fight between those two. And a fight of the soccer variety, I should clarify. Trey drags this back, connecting with Chesla, one of the substitutes. Now it's Gomez, the captain. Deonda, searching cross, caught by Beaudry. Rapids too, looking to see this one over the finish line and advance to 23 points in what has been a pretty tight Western Conference table so far. This would put them tied at first if they can hold this result. We'll lock them up with Ventura County and St. Louis City too. Those two, though, would have a game in hand on Rapids too. But the fact of the matter is games in hand don't equal points until you actually get them. Beaudry tracking it down, slides to keep it in play, but ultimately that effort will mean nothing for Austin. As a matter of fact, Beaudry able to kill more time by just letting that ball sit there and inviting in the pressure. Hope no one was below that splash of water. Some changes being ready for both teams here as we approach the final 10 minutes of the allotted 90. Won't take place yet. So here's the change for Austin. The academy kid Mohamed Badawiya will sub in for CJ Fodre. I'll get another look here. Badawiya, his 7th appearance of the season. Bayanda shifting back and forth. Is able to win himself some space before dispersing the ball. Badawiya hauls it back to his captain. Feed inside from Barrow. Won't reach his intended target. Colorado Rapids 2 with the 1-0 advantage after the service from Sydney Wathuta. Either glances off of Riley Thomas or is not at home by Kamani Stewart-Baines. Looking to hang on to it here. The closer this one gets to the final whistle, the more inclined Colorado will be to just see this one to the finish line and not push for a second goal, but that does not mean these two players stepping in don't have some ambitions to find the back of the net.
Entering the game, number 45, Amadou. Exiting the game, number 47, Sydney Wathuta.
So Sydney Wathuta and Anthony Garcia are out. In come Dauda Amadou and Rogelio Garcia. Garcia subbing into the game. The 17-year-old scored his first goal of the season last time out against Sporting Kansas City 2. Had a chance to meet and talk to the kid and mention how excited he was to score in that game because some family were able to get out to that game. His mom, grandparents, nephew all got to see him play, and he mentioned that they are very loud at the game and gave him an extra boost, so shout out to the fam. And Garcia draws a foul there. Quite a bit of pain there, Garcia, as he gets taken down, clutching his left knee. Jorge Alastue committing the foul. Garcia back up on his feet. Alastue helping him up before getting the booking. It's his third card of the season. Malik Pinto from the dead ball. A lot of air on that service. Headed back across the center. Austin trying to coordinate a counterattack, but Rapids too were privy. Stewart-Baines cutting inside, trying to sneak it through the middle. Stuart Baines still going. A couple of knifing moves. Rolls back out wide. Hossa. Every bit of possession here in the attacking half. It's going to be frustrating possession for Austin to give up. Pinto taps it across. Strelmauer chips it up ahead. Garcia takes the shot, glances the keeper and the crossbar. A ripping effort. Nearly a second goal for Colorado Rapids 2. And are they working again? Player goes down. Strelmauer chips it up ahead. And now it's cleared out of danger. Rogelio Garcia finds his pocket and lets it rip. A hot take from there. Required Charlie Farr to get his hands on it, and even then, he did just enough. Ball sent ahead. No one in the vicinity for the visitors. They'll roll it up the pitch once again. Anderson Hossa on that left flank. Not going to force and rush into anything here if you're Colorado. You invite Austin to come forward, and then you take the space that they leave behind them. Garcia working his way in. That one will go off target. Looks like it's going to be in favor of the home side. Ref pointing in that direction, perhaps suffering a deflection. Malik Pinto from the left corner flag. Surprised no one's coming in short just to take it and find out more of the clock. Here they come. Gotta be careful here. Don't want to gift wrapped an opportunity. Ultimately, that's a better result than should that touch be a little looser and Austin get to push forward. The away side will get the ball back. And you know they're going to be aggressive. They find something promising here in the closing stages of this match. Into the 90th minute. We'll see how much time is tacked on by the fourth official. Certainly have more than we did in the first half, which was 0. That one falls inside, laid back, the shot on goal, pulled away. Adam Beaudry reacts and keeps it at 1-0. This is a great moment here. The effort from Peter Grogan. Couldn't get by Beaudry. Three more minutes to go. That's how much is being tacked on here from the University of Denver Soccer Stadium.
3 minutes added to the second half.
Farrer. He'll start pushing forward. Good work there from Amadou. You can see the numbers cheating further forward for Austin. It's kitchen sink time now for the visitors. You're just throwing everything at the wall. Load it up into the box. Here comes the service. The head got on it, but not redirected. Close enough to goal. And you know Adam Beaudry is gonna take his sweet time. He'll lumber his way over to a spot to place this ball and then slowly put it back into play. Homegrown player, Colorado Rapids from Castle Pines. Farrer finds Badawia. That touch getting away from Torres. Rapids 2, just a minute away from 3 points. Games unbeaten for Austin FC 2. Look to be going to the wayside now. They may have one more opportunity. Contact on Peter Grogan. Needs a free kick closer to the penalty area. That'll be on Matthew Kofi Sinanu. Given the yellow card, and this may be the last window of opportunity. This is his bounce that ends up wrapping his leg and his arms around Grogan there. Is there a late moment of magic here for Austin? Jorge Alastue drives this ball in. Skips all the way across. Antonio Gomez was awaiting, but he couldn't keep it in. Going to be a substitution right before this final whistle sounds. It'll be a second appearance for the Academy kid Landon Strohmeyer. He'll sub in for Strelmauer. So Strohmeyer for Strelmauer. Say that a couple of times really quick.
Colorado Rapids 2 substitution entering the game, number 58, Landon Strohmeyer. Exiting the game, number 80, Noah Strelmauer.
There one more opportunity here. We're now in a minute hat over the 3 minutes allocated. And at this point, I'm almost wondering if Charlie Farrer should start initiating these kicks and let another body get forward. This one brought down, shuffled forward. They're still in business. Now cleared away for a corner kick. But they're not going to get it. The whistle sounds, and this game concludes 1-0. Colorado Rapids 2 are victorious. And getting his second clean sheet of the season is Adam Beaudry. makes this big stop here to maintain the advantage. And it is not easy to get a clean sheet in this league. It's such an offensive league. So anytime you're able to accomplish that, it's a pretty big moment for the goalkeeper, 19 years old, able to get it done. This is where our show will end. 1-0 your final score here for our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew. I'm Mark Schoenster. We thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Have a good night, everybody.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.